and gentlemen, good
What's
morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And wherever you are in the world and whenever you are tuning into this video, my name is James Porcelli.
I'm Brian Thomas.
And welcome to a very, very special edition today of the Ruthless Talk podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, we are several hours off of another WWE PLE, and that is the King and Queen of the Ring from live in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. There is a lot to discuss, a whole match card to go down, and we will talk all about it in another edition of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Now, before we dissect all of that, of course, we were teasing a special guest that was supposed to be a part of this episode today. Unfortunately, those people couldn't make it, which is the people from Triple Threat Wrestling, both Travis and Matt, but unfortunately they could not make it. So if they are watching this, shout out to those guys, as I'm sure we will definitely get them on the show at some point. Yeah, absolutely. Right. And we'll definitely get them on the show. And definitely, of course, we had the pleasure of being a part of their show, talking about the tournament itself, both the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments. So shout out to those guys, man. And we will definitely try to get those guys on the show, as they are really good people. And make sure you guys go check them out. That is Triple Threat Wrestling Podcast on YouTube, TikTok, and all of that fun stuff. Now, let us dive into this episode. However, and I don't know, again, Brian, another episode to where not yesterday, but on Thursday, major freaking news broke out. And
right after we wrapped up. Yeah.
Right after we just wrapped up and finished recording,
yeah,
we hear the news about WWE SummerSlam and how starting in 2026, not 2025, 2026, they will be doing a 2-night event live in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And pretty wild stuff, man. Of course, WWE for, I believe it's been about a good 4 years that they've now been doing 2 nights of WrestleMania.
Since COVID, right? Yeah,
pretty much since COVID. Yeah. Exactly. So, and now it seems like SummerSlam is now the next on that list, and this is probably the start of what most likely will happen with probably the Royal Rumble. Honestly, it's no, seriously, that really could be the case.
Absolutely, yeah, you're right.
So where the ladies can get their shine on one said night, and then the men, they do their Rumble match and do their night on night 2. So more of these 2-night events, these big PLE events for 2 nights. I don't think they're going to do anything in regards to like anything outside of the big 4. Right, like SummerSlam, Royal Rumble. I don't know. Survivor Series, that's up in the air, but definitely the Royal Rumble is bound to happen for a 2-night event moving forward in the future of this company. And with Minneapolis, and I will say this, trying to at least keep this brief because I do want to dissect into this pay-per-view. Minneapolis was supposed to be the location for this coming year of WrestleMania, but after what happened in frickin' Philadelphia and how cold it was, and Triple H and Nick Khan said, we ain't doing this shit again. We're going to move to somewhere where it's warmer in Vegas. We're going to Vegas. We're going to the desert. So I don't know if it has anything truly to do with that. So this was kind of like, Minneapolis, or at least WWE and TKO. And of course the people in Minneapolis saying, listen, we'll give you this we'll host SummerSlam. We'll make it this 2-night event. We've been wanting to do this for a long time now. So I'm sure somewhat of that weather, not issues, but just how cold it was and how it kind of affect some stuff in regards to that degree. So Nick Khan and Triple H said, yeah, we may not do this again. And then of course, with WrestleMania, now it's later on in April. So of course they want WrestleMania to be more in good weather conditions, warmer weather conditions, and so on and so forth, to that degree. So, but yeah, man, SummerSlam is now going to be 2 nights, and most likely in the future, you'll see another big event, probably the Royal Rumble, also going to be to that same degree, to where it's going to be a 2-night event. So, but we shall see, man. That is going to be starting up in 2026 for SummerSlam 2 years from now. Now, let us dive into this review. So, of course, as you guys know, the way we dissect the show, so this is a good, the bad, and the ugly review. So we will tally each of these matches. Each match will get at least one tally. Any tally that goes into this ugly column will get crossed off and turned into 2 bads once we do the final tallies of this review. And it's pretty simple. Whoever has the most tallies will determine whether this show is a good or bad PLE. If anything was great in this pay-per-view, then I will usually if something is great, I will give it more than 1 good, usually 2, maybe 3 goods, depending how great it is. If we go into a tie, then we will go to the tiebreaker, which is the kickoff show, which there was a match with Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair against, I believe it was Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae for the tag title. So if there is a tiebreaker, we will go to that kickoff show matchup if there is a tiebreaker to be had. So with all of that being said, there's no more time to waste. Let us dive straight into this PLE. So WWE Queen and King of the Ring. This was live in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. The first match starts off with the ladies. This was your champion Becky Lynch versus your challenger Liv Morgan. The time of this match was 15 and a half minutes in length. Becky is dressed up like she's probably going to some meeting at the TKO board. I don't fucking know what she's wearing out there.
Tuxedo, like it's her wedding day, but or even like a catering service or something.
Right, a catering service, like I'm about to be served like a cold one on the rocks or something. Yeah. I don't fucking know. Of course, when it comes to the ladies too, they're dressed up pretty much head to toe. They're covered because that's thing, and I guess it's a religious thing when it comes to people in Saudi. And Arabic thing. Yeah. So both ladies, Liv and Becky, are pretty much covered from neck to the waist down pretty much in these matches. So as the match starts off, so right out of the gate, and I don't know if it's because of how hot it is in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, and just because things were out of sync between these two ladies. They weren't selling their maneuvers that very well. They just seemed out of place. They did slow things down. Becky actually did a very good job of trying to get the match back on pace. Both ladies, honestly, did a very good job of that. So I don't know if it was the heat, because they're wearing those freaking, I guess you want to say, bodysuits or whatever. I believe it was like 90 some odd degrees in Jeddah. So it's pretty, that's definitely going to affect you for sure. So I'm sure that had something to do with it, because something was just off right from the jump between these two ladies. So yeah, again, pretty much a slow pace matchup. The matchup for the most part was not the greatest match. If I were to ever go back and watch a Becky or Liv Morgan match, this may not be one of the top tier matches to both of their degree, but things started to pick up when Dominic Mysterio shows up at ringside, as we pretty much all expected, right? Or at least somebody from the Judgment Day. You freaking knew this was going to happen, but honestly, this was at least the right term of events to go about such, right? So Dominic Mysterio shows up at ringside. Liv counters a manhandle slam, and she hits a code breaker. Becky then hits a suplex from the top rope. That was a devastating suplex.
Yeah, it was. That was executed really nice. Very nicely.
And shout out to Liv for freaking taking it, right? Like I always say, it takes 2 to tango in these matchups. And that's when Dominic gets involved. Dominic slides Becky Lynch a steel chair underneath the ring. Now, the ref, of course, is blatantly distracted by Liv. Then Dominic goes up on the ring apron to distract the referee. Liv takes advantage. Becky Lynch is like, what are you doing giving me a chair for? Like, what the hell's going on here? And then frickin' Liv, she takes advantage. She hits a DDT to Becky Lynch on the steel chair, followed by the Oblivion finisher. The ref is oblivious to all of it. And Liv Morgan covers Becky Lynch for the 1, 2, and 3. And Liv Morgan is your new WWE Women's World Champion. Liv Morgan, she's celebrating at the rampway. Pyro goes off, and Dominic Mysterio is like, fuck, mommy is not going to be too happy. Or was this planned all along? Was this just pretty much a setup to where we've seen all of these little hints and all of these little seeds that were planted backstage with Liv and Dominic talking to each other, with Finn Balor and Liv Morgan talking to each other. So time will only tell to see what all of this means, but I think we all know for sure is that Rhea Ripley is watching this at home, and she is not happy in the slightest whatsoever, as now the woman that has just taken her out has her women's championship. So Liv wins this matchup, and that is pretty much it as we pretty much go off to commercial. So, hey, listen, Brian, I will have you start, man, as I got a few things to say about it, but I'll let you start as I've done a lot of talking already within 10 minutes of the show. But your thoughts, man? Becky Lynch versus Liv, and Liv Morgan winning this title, bro. Talk to me. Your thoughts.
Well, let me preface all of this by saying I wasn't able to give this entire pay-per-view my full attention today. So, I saw most of it, but there could be things that I missed. So, I'll just say that, at the jump. But yeah, I agree with you. To start, like, I don't know if it's just this match or whatever, but I don't think Becky and Liv have chemistry really pure. I don't know. I don't think they got chemistry at all, to be honest. So yeah, I mean, the match was okay. So I got a little confused here, and I don't know. I know sometimes I have, like, on SmackDown, it's hard for me to watch that live, and I just get the clips and the highlights. But so Dom comes out there, right? There's never been any interaction that I can remember between Becky and Dom, or has there been? Did I miss something?
Between Becky Lynch and Dominic.
Dom, yeah.
So like, in regards to,
well, I mean, I know, like, in regards to, like, Liv and, like, what's going on now, I guess here's my question, because before Dom throws the chair in the ring, I'm pretty sure Becky said to Dom, when he's just kind of standing out there, I don't need your help.
Yes.
Insinuating that Dom was out there to help Becky and not Liv, right? And we've all seen what's been going on with Liv and Dom and Finn backstage.
Right.
So it was just weird to me, like, why Becky would think he's out there to help her anyway.
Yeah, I think it was kind of a mixture of both, at least from, like, the facial expression that was kind of given to Becky, to where, like, she's looking at Dom thinking, like, dude, like, first of all, like, I don't need your help. Second of all, like, what are you doing trying to help me? Like, I don't trust you. Like, what are you doing? In a way, that's the vibe that I kind of got in regards to it. And of course, obviously you would think, as from a fan's perspective, like, obviously Dominic would want Becky to win because, the woman that she's taking on is the woman that took out Rhea Ripley in a way. So
see, I got a whole different perspective on that. Like, I think this, because the more I thought about it, of how it all went down, that's just Dom's out, so to speak. Like, no, I think Dom and Liv are 100% in on this together.
Oh yeah, no, that's absolutely.
And that's Dom's out to say, like, no, I threw the chair to Becky. I wanted Becky to win.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like, the perception is that, oh, she's trying to help Becky because Liv Morgan is the one that took out Rhea, but the plan all along is to help Liv Morgan win the championship. So yeah, no, absolutely, yeah, no, we're on the same page with that.
So yeah, it was okay, and yeah, I mean, we expected Dom or somebody to come out, and all in all, Liv should have been walking out of there champion, and she did. So I can't really. Nothing impressed me, nothing surprised me. But yeah, right person won, and we'll see. Now I'm really interested to see where this goes with the Judgment Day and Rhea, and, like, I really, I don't know how far she is away from actually coming back, but if we can start getting her in, like, little, like, vignettes or just, like, backstage things or something, oh man, yeah, I can't wait for that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I've said this to a friend when the show was going on, was everything that needed to happen in this match, or at least towards the end of it, happened.
Yeah.
In regards to not just Liv winning the title, but, and I stated, like, even though, again, Becky Lynch didn't need it to be protected, like, oh, if Dominic didn't get involved, then Becky Lynch would still be champion. At least that's how I'm sure like Michael Cole and people like Corey Graves on commentary will kind of try to spew it, right?
Right.
But it makes sense if you're going to evolve Liv as a heel and being on this revenge tour against Rhea Ripley, trying to make deals and such with her own faction. It makes sense. But yeah, no doubt, like Dominic and Liv, like this was obviously part of the plan to be like, oh, hey, pretend like you're trying to help Becky, right? And I think like you see the look on Becky Lynch's face. He's like, yeah, first of all, I don't need your help. Second of all, like, why are you trying to help me out? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah. And I think Dom did a pretty good job, kind of selling that at the end with the camera shots he got. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yep.
So, yeah, no, absolutely, no doubt. But 100%, yeah. From the jump, this match was just off. Again, from the ladies just not selling their maneuvers properly. The chemistry was off right from the jump, and maybe the conditions in Saudi and how hot it is, and they got to wear these bodysuits from head to toe. Plays it to a degree.
That are like leather or pleather or some kind of. It's like fuck it, you're gonna sweat your ass off.
I mean, Jesus Christ, man. So I mean,
like I hope they have like IV set up, IV drip set up in the back, man, for when these wrestlers come out. Because you
would think, yeah. So I'm sure a lot of that plays a part to it. But you're right, Brian, to a degree too. It's just like as much, even though we've seen Becky and Liv in the ring multiple times now, you never really got the vibe that these ladies have the deepest chemistry with one another. And when you add on top of those heat conditions and the bodysuits and everything else, it could get maybe not ugly. At least it didn't get ugly to that degree, but it definitely got very awkward and very sloppy at times. But I will say though, man, once Dominic got involved, this definitely, the pace picked up, the intrigue picked up, and the finish was obviously the right call. We've talked about Liv Morgan. Like, it would just make zero sense for her to lose this match after you've been doing nothing but build her up and build up this heel persona. And then once again, she loses. She's like the runner up, right? That's been her kind of her MO is being the runner up in all of these big matchups. So it'd just be very odd to be on this revenge tour, but yet you're still not getting the job done in regards to it. So there's supposed to be a rematch coming up for Monday Night Raw against Becky and Liv Morgan. So I'm sure more of this whole whatever's going on with Liv Morgan and the Judgment Day is going to continue to prolong here with Dominic, and maybe we might have questions answered of what's going on truly between or behind closed doors to a degree. But at the end of the day, man, the match was not that good. I don't even know if I can call at least first half of this match average. I mean, it was maybe averaged at its best, right?
Here's what I'll say, I'm sorry to cut you off, but really this whole pay-per-view for me, like my tally at the end is going to kind of be misleading, because really from start to finish, top to bottom, this was kind of mid for me all the way through, to be honest, and maybe that's also like, because we've kind of been spoiled here recently, coming off of Mania, of course the Rumble, the last pay-per-view where we kind of thought maybe Fatu was coming, but it was Tonga.
Yeah.
So, this, it just kind of was like,
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I've said it before too about when it comes to wrestling fans, it's just like, things maybe be good, but at the same time, like, you can be getting a lot better than what you're getting, right?
Yeah.
So, but no doubt at all. So to wrap this up into a bow, again, the match subpar to average, but the right call was made and the finish was spot on. And because of the finish was spot on, and because the right call was made, and even during the sloppiness, there was times to where they got back on track to at least to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But more good outweighed the bad in this situation. And with that being said, Liv Morgan winning this championship in this women's title match goes into the good column for me.
Same.
So,
me too.
So good start. Very, very good start. And again, shout out to Liv Morgan. I believe this is her now second world title in this company. She won the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Yep.
Her first time as a babyface a while back, and now this is her second reign. And listen, hopefully this second reign is.
I'm
leaps
really
and
looking
bounds.
forward to this, man. With everything that's been set up, man. Just again, we just hope they deliver, man. But
exactly. So,
yep.
and for somebody that's been a Liv Morgan supporter, I've always said about Liv that she's better than what a lot of people give her credit for. And I think that this run as world champion, and obviously with Rhea Ripley coming back, and there's going to be more story to be told there. She's going to prove a lot of people, why or how good she actually is. In regards to holding on to this title and keeping that momentum going. But shout out to Liv Morgan. Congrats to her. And hopefully they keep the momentum going with that title, that shiny new world title around her waist. Hopefully that momentum keeps up, and we'll see what happens in this rematch with Becky and the Judgment Day and all this stuff. So it's a lot of interesting stuff, and we'll see how it goes forward. So, all right, now our next matchup is for the Intercontinental Championship. This is your champion, Sami Zayn, versus Big Bronson Reed versus Chad Gable in a triple threat match. The match time and length was 14 minutes in total. Chad Gable gets a "you suck" in his freaking entrance. He's got that now twice now. Of course, it's like the whole Kurt Angle shtick or whatever. I'm sure, Chad Gable, of course, trying to get some heel heat, freaking is really happy about that. He loves that heel heat, of course. So I'm sure that means a lot to Chad Gable to a degree. But Sami Zayn, so match starts. Sami Zayn hits a sunset flip onto Bronson Reed. So a lot of power moves were delivered onto Bronson Reed in this match, right, to showcase the strength of Chad Gable, as well as a little bit of sneaky strength with Sami Zayn to a degree. So a lot of big power moves were showcased in this match. Bronson Reed power bombs Gable and Zayn. It was pretty much just a suplex. All the work was pretty much done was from Sami Zayn and Chad Gable as Zayn was looking to deliver a suplex from the top rope. And there was no authority behind the power bomb. It was just like a simple little toss, and then Gable and Zayn just do the rest of the work there. So not the best spot. I mean, I like the idea of the spot. It just wasn't that devastating, at least on Bronson Reed's end. So Chad Gable, he puts an ankle lock onto Bronson Reed, followed by Sami Zayn. While Gable's got the ankle lock on Bronson Reed, he puts an ankle lock on Chad Gable. So a lot of those big maneuvers were put into this matchup. Blue Thunder Bomb was hit by Sami Zayn onto Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed then gets some offense going. He hits a suicide dive. He actually hit better than Top Dollar, just saying. So I know. I'm not going to go there. But Chad Gable then hits a double stack German suplex to both onto Sami Zayn and Bronson Reed. That was probably the best, at least double stack, whatever you want to call those maneuvers of that matchup. Definitely much better than that power bomb. I like the attempt, but that double stack German suplex was much more devastating, and it was just sold a lot better there. And that's when Otis gets involved here. Otis was at ringside, or he's been at ringside. While the referee, and it's triple threat rule, so there's no disqualification. So he clotheslines Bronson Reed, and then Gable comes onto ringside holding up Sami Zayn, and he's ordering Otis to hit him. And Otis can't bring himself to do it. And Chad Gable gets into his face. He's pushing him. He's slapping him in his face. What are you doing? He's like, oh, what? He's like, is he your friend now? Is that what's going on here? He's just berating Otis as what he's been doing now for weeks. So he slaps and pushes him around and everything. And he gives him a second chance. He holds up Sami Zayn again. And Otis is like, screw it. He's like, all this anger I got on Chad Gable right now, and screw it. I'll just use it on Sami Zayn because, he's in a rock and a hard place, I guess. So he goes to go for that clothesline or whatever. Freaking Sami Zayn sidesteps it and clotheslines Chad Gable. So Chad Gable's laid out. And then Zayn gets back into the ring. He hits the Halula kick to Bronson Reed, and Sami Zayn goes for the pinfall, pins Bronson Reed, and retains his Intercontinental Championship and wins this match. And Chad Gable gives Otis the stare of death straight in his face at ringside as Sami Zayn, and with a pretty solid reaction, by the way. The Jeddah crowd was pretty darn decent. I mean, obviously not to a degree from obviously France and frickin' the DR, right? But no, that Sami Zayn got a nice little reaction. He's celebrating with the crowd, and yeah, frickin' Chad Gable is like giving Otis the death stare, like, you motherfucker, right? So yeah, man. So I'll start this and I'll try to make this short. So look, I've stated my piece about Bronson Reed and just how out of place he's felt this entire time in regards to this triple threat. And I get it. You're doing this to prolong Chad and Zayn, right, in the future, because you want to once again do that with maybe evolving the stakes to where maybe again like the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile are now a part of this shtick now. Who knows? Now you get to resume Sami Zayn and Chad Gable and their hostility, not just Chad Gable and Alpha Academy. So who knows when it comes to that? Obviously, we knew Bronson Reed was going to be the fall guy, and we knew that Sami Zayn was going to retain this title. Ain't no way freaking Sami Zayn was going to lose this title under these circumstances. So obviously, this was the right call. But yeah, the highlight or the takeaway of this match was the storytelling with Otis and Chad Gable and seeing where all of this unfolds moving forward. So obviously Chad Gable is getting more frustrated and more irritated by the minute because his number one guy and his colleagues from Alpha Academy just can't get the job done or do what Chad Gable is asking them to do. So this was decent, man. And the match overall itself was pretty darn decent. All of these guys deserve major props in regards to the spots that were taken in this match to make this match pretty much somewhat entertaining to a degree, at least for a triple threat. So I'm going to give my tally, man. So the right person won this match. You kept telling the story with Chad Gable and Otis. You're going to keep prolonging that. There's a lot more interest there. So I got nothing bad to truly say about this match, man. So a lot more good. Maybe you can say that outweighed the bad that was this triple threat and why Bronson Reed was involved in this in the first place. But all that being said, this match for me goes into the good column overall. Brian, your thoughts and your tally for this Intercontinental title match.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't have much to say about it. It ended how I expected to. You know, really my only question was if, you know, the Creed brothers were going to come out there tonight or Monday. And I mean, now, you know, how that went down, you can bet somehow, some way, Monday night, like it's going to go down between Alpha Academy and, you know, whatever. That's what I'm expecting. So
yeah,
I mean, Sammy wins. You know, I'm going to put it in the good just because, I mean, it's like I said, this whole thing was kind of mid. I mean, it wasn't bad, you know, definitely not ugly. So
nothing over the top.
Right.
I mean, and that includes everything in this pay-per-view. Nothing that's over the top, but nothing that I can say that more bad outweighed the good, at least in majority of this show. And that includes this triple threat. You know, because like I said, the right person won, which we all knew. Again, nothing that was surprising or any shocking moments, but everything kind of prolonged as we all thought it would. But it's the right call. To a degree, and it does keep a lot of interest to see where it goes moving forward. But and that's pretty much it.
I'm really, I guess the positive for me is I look forward to Monday night now because I do expect something to happen.
Yeah,
you know, whether it's just that, you know, the Alpha Academy finally splitting up, or, you know, the Creed brothers also kind of moving into that spot. So
yeah, absolutely, for sure. Well, so far, again, so good. Two goods in the good column.
Yep.
Nothing in the bad and nothing in the ugly. So the question is, can WWE keep this momentum rolling? Let's find out as we go into our next matchup here. Our next matchup is the finals of the Queen of the Ring tournament. This was Nia Jax versus Lyra Valkyria. Match time and length was under 10 minutes in total. Nia Jax landed on her hole again. Every time she lands on her hole, she always says something like, she always makes a funny remark, and it cracks me up, and it LOLs me every single time. So that was just freaking funny. Again, the match was nothing over the top, but
Nope.
I can't really say it was bad. Nia Jax actually performed very well in this match. I can honestly go to the degree that she outperformed Lyra in this matchup in regards to just everything that what makes at least a decent match, or at least a match that has more good outweighing the bad here. But obviously the biggest highlight of this match was this Annihilator finisher from Nia. As Lyra goes to do a sunset flip, and Nia Jax just hits this finisher, and she squashes the fuck out of her. Oh my God. This was probably, Brian, the most gnarly and probably the best Annihilators that Nia has hit since she's been doing this
like
finisher.
How she didn't break ribs on that one, like I don't fucking know, but
shit. Shout out to Yokozuna. She's doing the Yokozuna arm cross, bro. That was freaking great too.
Yeah,
freaking Yokozuna was proud of that freaking Annihilator, bro. Let me tell you, because holy shit, man, poor Lyra, bro. I was like, I felt that. I'm like, ow, man. Seriously, because I've seen Nia Jax, and to a degree, I get it. Especially when it comes to, you're still trying to get your feet wet and get your foot in the door, before she got released and everything. Mm-hmm. She didn't really make it look devastating, right? And there was times, and I've been very hard on Nia Jax a lot of times, and a lot of it's for justified reasons. I made a post about this on our Facebook page, as to where I just, for the longest time, Brian, and I'll get to you in just a second, is that for the longest time, I watched Nia Jax just try to wrestle a match and not just perform move sets, right? But to sell, to make the moves look devastating. It just comes across. It just doesn't look like it's the last thing that she wants to be doing. It like wrestling a match is the last thing she would want to be doing in that moment. That's how it comes across when she used to wrestle a match before she got released. It just looked like she just didn't care. Right. And that's where things got sloppy and the injuries and all that stuff. And I've spoken about that many times. But now, man, you watch her perform, and now a lot more of the little things mean a lot more to Nia Jax, as she did very, very well in this match. Again, whether you want to say this match was exciting or good or just flat out mid, I hear all of those arguments. I really do. But this finish, man, was this was the big shebang, right? The big highlight of this match. And Nia Jax, she hits that finisher. And after seeing that, you knew Lyra's not getting up. She gets pinned for the 1, 2, 3, and Nia Jax wins. She is the queen of the ring. Triple H, he's in the ring, putting that crown on her head. Nia Jax celebrates with pyro. I think Kayla Braxton was about to interview her. She's like, shut up, Kayla. I don't need your congratulations. Thank you, or whatever. And then she ends up celebrating with pyro. So Queen Nia is what we got.
Queen Nia.
At the end of the day from this tournament. Obviously, we expected that this was supposed to be for Tiffany Stratton. And obviously, this tournament got into a 180 due to unfortunate circumstances. Of course, obviously, you guys know what I'm talking about. So the audible was Queen Nia. That's what we got, and that's what happened. So, Brian, your thoughts, man, on your girl, Nia Jax.
Yeah, man.
Queen of the ring. What are your thoughts, bro? And your tally.
Again, it's nothing, blew me away until the end, because, that was devastating. And I was like, at first, my initial reaction was like, there's no way she's not injured, and god damn it, this is just gonna fucking feed back into the Nia Jax thing, Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, it's that was devastating. Really happy for her. Glad she is queen of the ring. I gotta say this about the whole, the announcement of the king and queen of the ring now getting title shots. Like,
right,
not a fan at all of that, man. You got the Rumble that gives you a title shot. You got the Money in the Bank that is essentially a title shot. Why they're doing this? I wish they didn't add that and just let them be, kind of play to that persona for a while of the king and queen of the ring, like they used to back in the day to some degree. But now it seems like it's just going to be more about going after the title. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, happy she won. It was an okay match. Again, nothing great, nothing horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I am excited to see how this goes, man. Really, I've been a fan of Nia since way back in the day, man, and I know she had the reputation she's got and maybe earned. But yeah, this run she's having now, man, I'm really glad she's getting that. So I'm putting that in the good as well. So yeah, I got 3 goods right now.
And same here, as I got 3 in the good for this match and for this PLE overall. So yeah, again, the match was nothing spectacular, but I mean, I will say I will go back and watch this finisher of how devastating it freaking was. And yes, and the thing is too with Nia, it's when it comes to her matches, as like I said before, it's just it looks like from the past, obviously before she was released the first time she was here, again, it was a lot of the time she was very reckless and it just didn't look like she wanted to be in that ring. And it was just, it came across it like it just didn't care. Like the little things just didn't care for her at all. But now a lot of that has been cleaned up. She's selling a lot more. The little things in that ring, she's using a lot more in-ring psychology. She's using a lot more storytelling, a lot more trash talking, telling Jade Cargill's freaking daughter saying you suck. Like it's good, man. It's good, and hopefully this progresses with Nia.
And here's also the thing with Nia that I gotta again like kind of I don't know back her up or whatever because I see it this way. It's like yes, she more than any other woman. I mean, unless you're talking about like a Bianca or Jade now that probably could match up with her fairly well. She is so much bigger and more powerful than most of the women in there. And I think that once she, yes, there was an injury here or there or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I noticed is like, then she was just like going half speed all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And James, you as a baseball player or any athlete or any, sports or whatever, like if it's in your head that much and you're not giving it your all and not going 100 miles an hour and you're actively trying to go half speed, that's when you're going to fuck up. You know what I'm saying? That's when shit's going to go bad and people are going to get injured. I think it really had more to do with that than her not caring. But whatever.
I'm not saying that. My remark is that it looks like she doesn't care. Is what I'm saying. It's how it comes across, and to where, and your point's very valid. I'm not saying it's not. It's just that with Nia, and a lot of it too is also a WWE booking issue, to where if she's not comfortable with being in the ring with a certain individual, then that's also on WWE's part too. To where if you know that she's not ready to be a part of these matches, to where she feel like she can't, go full speed to where she could possibly injure somebody, then that's also on WWE's part too. Putting her with people like a Kairi Sane or people like a Selena Vega or whatever it is. But the way I look at it too, Brian, and you're right when it comes to sports, right? It's just like when you got to reduce the speed and not put every single thing into it, it could definitely mess up your timing and tempo. Absolutely, no doubt. But the other thing that I look at it too, Brian, is that like if you are truly good at what you do, especially in wrestling, you would be able to figure a lot of that stuff out really try to adjust, right? Adjust and adapt. Right. And that's the thing too with baseball as well. Like when it comes to baseball, especially when it comes to the game itself, like is one of the hardest sports to ever play on this earth. I don't give a shit what anybody says.
No
you could say I'm biased, but what a lot of professionals
that's the hardest thing to do in any sport is to hit a baseball, a round ball with a round bat squarely.
Absolutely.
That's the hardest thing to do.
But the thing
at
is
100 miles an hour.
Oh, no doubt, dude. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So the people that say that baseball's boring and like, oh, I can hit a ball, dude, shut the fuck up. No, you can't. But anyway, back on track with the wrestling thing. So the thing is with Nia Jax, right? But you see it now on how she's been able to adjust and evolve, and she looks more like a professional in there. That's my thing, right? And it's not just a Nia thing. It's also the WWE's portion of it, to where you see that she's uncomfortable you see that there's a lot of holes in her game, and she is injuring people, whether, again, it's not on purpose. I just think that she's just, at the time she was unequipped and she just wasn't ready. That's also on WWE's part. But at the same time, you do have to, it's on you to evolve and adapt in that ring within that person that you're working with. But now you can see that Nia Jax, at least to a certain degree, has evolved and has adapted to it. So and I think that that's the most important thing. And again, hopefully that continues to where, she just looks like she's just more comfortable in there. Right, like you said, Brian, to where, and I've seen it too. I've seen all of these Nia Jax matches. Go ahead,
like, I hope at some point, and not that it has to. She has to be like a central part of it by any means, but I really hope before it's all said and done, she does somehow get into this bloodline story and get some of that rub too, man. I really do.
We'll see. Yeah. It's a possibility. We'll see in regards to that. But listen, man, I'll end it with this. Much love to Nia. I never thought I'd be doing this, but here I am. And listen, just because I don't like somebody, I will always I'll always give credit where credit is due, because I'm fair, right? Just because I like people like a Tiffany Stratton or a Mercedes Moné, a Bray Wyatt, or whatever the case may be, a Roman Reigns, right? Whatever it is. But I will always give those people, and I've done it with people like Charlotte Flair in the past, where I've given her tremendous kudos when it's deserved. That matchup with Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania 39, right? I gave her major kudos of how tremendous that matchup was. And I have been giving nothing but kudos to Nia Jax ever since she's came back. Can she be better? Sure. But has she improved? Absolutely. So again, nothing in this match was over the top. But that finisher, man, and the way that this match ended and how devastating that looked. And again, freaking prayers go out to freaking Lyra and selling that maneuver. God bless that freaking woman. I'm sure she's feeling it now, freaking going to bed, or at least trying to lay in bed. She's feeling that shit. But yeah, so again, nothing over the top, nothing spectacular, but more good is just outweighing the bad in all of these matches, man. There's nothing I can say that was majority bad, and there's obviously nothing that I can say that was ugly at all. So Nia Jax and Lyra Valkyria, obviously personally, I try to put my personal bias aside. I would have loved if this was Tiffany, but you got Nia. The audible was called, the 180 was called, and we'll see where things go.
I think ultimately, if Tiffany had a run as Queen of the Ring, just with her, that would have. Yeah, that's gold sitting in your hand, I think. So I mean, and they know that, so hopefully Nia does well in this role. We'll see. We'll kind of see where they go with the King and the Queen of the Ring, and what kind of shtick they're going to put them in.
Yeah, and now that she's on SmackDown, she's probably going to be facing Bayley. I mean, she's already teased that whole friction when she attacked Bayley. This was like the night before Backlash when they were in France. So obviously a feud there. She's going to take this momentum and probably use it to prolong a feud with Bayley. Possibly, I guess they're going to do that for SummerSlam, since I guess it's SummerSlam, right? That if you win this tournament, you get a title shot for SummerSlam, correct? I believe that's.
Did they announce like when it was going to be?
Yeah, I believe it's. I believe it's at SummerSlam, is what Triple H said. Is that so if you win this tournament, your title shot is going to be at SummerSlam.
Gotcha.
And for this next tournament matchup is why I'm going to dissect into that a little bit more. But yeah, props to Nia Jax. And we'll see where she goes. I'm rooting for her that she keeps this up, and we'll see, as well as Lyra Valkyria. She's very new to the main roster, and hopefully, her entrance is somewhat kind of cool. I think
that was the best part of it for her, for me. That was a kind of cool entrance. Yeah,
I know, absolutely. I think her in-ring performances is very vanilla. Like, nothing truly stands out with how she performs in the ring. I hope that makes sense to everybody. And, maybe she evolves and adapts, like I said about Nia Jax, because that's just what you have to do.
She will. She'll be a star, I think.
Yeah. Oh, she's going to be. I mean, dude, she's already, she's in segments with Becky. She's in segments with these other top names. So clearly Triple H, Shawn Michaels, they all see something in this woman. And hopefully as time goes on, we start to see what these people have seen since day one. That's the goal in regards to it. So, but let us move on to our next tournament matchup. This next matchup is for the King of the Ring. This was the finals. This was the Ring General Gunther versus Randall Keith Orton. Match time was 22 minutes in length. So pace was very slow, as expected. This is a legit fact. This is Randy Orton's first singles match on a PLE for the first time in 3 years. His last singles match on a PLE was against Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 37. That was the last time Randy Orton was on a one-on-one match. Yep, at a PLE. So this was definitely definitely very interesting to come across that stat. So yeah, very slow pace to start off. Randy Orton goes for an RKO and freaking Gunther sidesteps it, and Orton lands on his back. So Orton's selling the lower back injury. He's also selling a knee injury. So Gunther's really targeting those muscle groups there. Randy Orton then hits one RKO, and then he tries to go for the cover, but he's already banged and bruised, and he can't really make it back up to try to cover Gunther. A second RKO was hit in this match. Gunther took it horribly. He took the first one really well. The second one he took horribly. I don't know what the fuck was that. So Orton goes for the cover, and then Gunther, she rolls up Orton for the 1, 2, and 3 and wins this match. However, Orton's shoulder was up off the mat clearly, and they clearly botched it because during the replay, they showed the same finish from a different view. So you don't even see Randy Orton's shoulder up, but clearly it's up. I first thought, oh, maybe this is part of a story. They're going to maybe tell this further on Raw. But I don't know. From the way that they changed that camera angle, this seemed to me like it was botched. And even if it wasn't botched, like a roll-up finish, man, fucking why, man? I mean, the match overall was very good. Going up to the ending of this match, this was just a bad ending to a match and a really, really, really bad botch, which was unfortunate because this was one of the matchups I was really looking forward to between Randy Orton and Gunther. And even though the matchup overall, like I mentioned, was very good, but the ending of this, man, was just really bad. I mean, it left a lot of, I'm sure, me and a lot of other fans, just a bad taste in their mouth with this match and how just poorly it was executed. But Gunther wins this match, as we all once again pretty much expected, as Gunther wins this match, and he will get a world title opportunity at SummerSlam. I'm pretty sure it's going to be either against Damian Priest or Drew McIntyre. So that's very, very interesting. And I'll speak more about that later. But Brian, I will send this off to you, bro. Your thoughts on this matchup between Gunther and Orton?
Oh man, just how we talked about, the Becky and Liv match, how it was not a very good match, but the ending, it was how it should have been.
It's vice versa with this one.
Right. Like, this was my favorite match of the night. I really did enjoy this match, from start until the finish. I still, Gunther had to win. That's, I love that. But yeah, I just feel like even with Orton, like Gunther, for the King of the Ring and his character, like, it should have been a more definitive win than just the roll up, man.
Exactly right. Yeah. I'm like, don't not let this be the ending of the match. And then the 3 count hits. I'm like, motherfucker.
Yeah. I was too. I was like, it just, it fits his character. It fits, I don't know. And I'm glad, there was no outside interference. It was just straight up one-on-one. Fucking loved it.
Absolutely.
This to me was the match of the night. I just wish it would have ended with a more definitive victory. Mm-hmm. And like I said, going forward, like, I just am not a fan of this, the King of the Ring now automatically getting the title shot, because I really, Gunther's, the ring general, I can't even say it, the ring general, or however they say it.
However the fuck you say it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like that character, to now make him king of the ring. Like, I just go back to the days of when Macho Man won it, or who was another one that, it really sticks out? Harley Race. Where the king of the ring was like, it just feels like now it's just a prop and you're using it to, again, get the title shot. I was just looking forward to a King Gunther like reign of some sort, and maybe we still get it. Just who knows? But
yeah,
just with a title shot attached to it, it lost a little something for me. But
yeah,
I still put this match in the good. Gunther won; he should be king of the ring. So yeah, it was still the match of the night for me, even with the finish. I just think with Gunther, you need to, have him hit the finisher on Orton for that,
yeah.
So
look, I have to be fair in regards to it, to where even though this match overall was damn good, but I always say this, man, when it comes to a wrestling match, the finish and how you dice or how you book the finish overall and how it's executed is just as important as the match itself. And because of how bad this was, that's exactly where it's just going to go in the bad column.
Fair enough. Yep.
I'm not going to give it an ugly because the matchup overall was still pretty darn good. So I can't stretch it out and put it into an ugly. I'm not going to do that. But that finish, man, was just a bad taste in my mouth, man, as I'm sure it was for a lot of other wrestling fans that watched this match. So now in regards to this title shot that the winners of these tournaments are getting, I hear what you're saying, Brian, because it definitely makes, to a slight degree, pay-per-views like Money in the Bank and maybe even the Royal Rumble to a certain degree, to where it's just like, how much more prestigious is it getting a title opportunity at a big event when all you can do is just win this little tournament, you get this nice little crown, and you get a title opportunity. So right. I get it, but it does add a lot more intrigue and, in regards to who wins this, and it adds a lot more suspense of the title shot being involved. I stated that if you were going to do this, then announce it beforehand. They announced this like legit freaking, what was it, 2 days ago? Or freaking on Friday, right before
something
this
like that event. Yeah.
This should have been announced before this tournament even fucking started. So it just comes across like it was just put together last minute. Oh, by the way, everybody, the winner gets a title shot. I'm like, okay, buddy, we're already at the finals. Like, if this was really meant to be a prestigious achievement, why wasn't this talked about or advertised before this whole thing started? That's my majority problem in regards to it. Now, obviously, we talked about Nia. She's obviously going to go after Bayley on SmackDown in her championship. But now with Gunther, right? Now, I don't know how you feel about this, Brian, because I stated this on our Facebook page about now that there's a title match involved. I was honestly now conflicted to where if Randy Orton were to win this, I wouldn't mind it. But the thing is with Orton is that him holding on to a crown and winning King of the Ring, that's just not Randy Orton. No. So it's just not. That's why I was just like, it makes sense to a certain degree, though. The reason why I say that is because we talk about Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton in the future, right?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Cody Rhodes, regardless if people say, oh, well, that title that feud doesn't need to be for the title. Well, Cody Rhodes is not dropping that title anytime soon. Randy Orton's not fucking getting any younger, nor is he getting any healthier with his back and his other injuries. So when are you going to do this feud? So I honestly wouldn't have mind if Orton would have won this tournament and you would have prolonged maybe a 2 to 3 month feud with Cody leading into SummerSlam, right? And to where with Gunther, and now obviously the plan is for WrestleMania, and it's most likely going to happen, to where it's most likely going to be Cody versus The Rock for WrestleMania, is what we're hearing from reputable sources. But if you were to, because Gunther is, even though he's going to hold on to that world title at some point, and it looks like it is going to be somewhere around SummerSlam during that time frame, I would make the argument to say, why the rush in regards to Gunther winning this world title? Yeah. Have him win the Royal Rumble and take the title away from Cody at WrestleMania 41. Because on that type of stage against somebody like Cody, a stature like Cody, would mean a lot more to Gunther in regards to a Damian Priest, to where Damian Priest is doing well, but he hasn't turned babyface yet. We don't know what the status is when it comes to his babyface turn, because he's still a heel. And is Damian Priest a big enough babyface like a Seth Rollins, or is going to be a big enough babyface like a Seth or a CM Punk or a Cody Rhodes, to where when he does take that championship from this said face, is it going to be that much more meaningful? Right. You know, and that goes along with how well they book Priest as a face, and can people connect with Damian Priest as a baby face? I don't know. Obviously, it makes sense if you're going to have Gunther go after the world title. Damian Priest has to be a face. But then there's also Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is now a full-fledged heel. He's going to be going after Punk. We know that, whether it's at SummerSlam or whatever, most likely SummerSlam. So, and you would make the argument with Drew, how can he lose at Clash of the Castle against Damian Priest?
Right.
Especially with all of this momentum he's got with Punk, and now he's going to lose in Scotland, lose this title opportunity against Damian Priest. I don't know. But then, because if that's the case, if he does win the title, then you get Gunther and Drew McIntyre. We've seen this matchup before many times. So what difference is it going to be with Gunther and Drew in this matchup, both of them being said heels as well? So now you just put yourself into a pickle here. You see what I'm saying, Brian? So I don't know.
I'm kind of the same mindset of like, where again, it's that's why the title shot is a problem here, because you've been building this stuff between between McIntyre and Punk. And of course, Priest is the champion now, and you've already set this date to where the King of the Ring gets a title shot at SummerSlam. So it just feels like whatever is going to happen. I mean, we're in May, folks. I mean, this is 2 months away, 3, whatever. So it feels like whatever is going to happen between Punk and McIntyre, or how Priest fits in all this, it's all going to be rushed. All of it.
Yeah.
Especially
for Gunther. I mean, Gunther, right. I mean, like, yes, he should win the world title, but it's like, I don't know. It just feels, like you said, it just feels rushed because he just got back. Like, have him do this King of the Ring shtick, however he wants to do it. And then I'm telling you, man, the Royal Rumble is, and I guess I get it. The Rock is going to come back, and he says he's not finished with Cody. So, you're going to prolong that, man. But I don't know. Prolonging Gunther and not rushing Gunther's title opportunity just makes more sense to do it at the Rumble. But we know it's not going to happen anyway. But
because like you said, like, I mean, it's really hard for me to say right now that McIntyre is not going to win in Scotland and have that kind of moment. So he's champion, right? I mean, Punk is still out there. We don't know when he's coming back. And maybe he's not coming back before SummerSlam. Maybe not. But so then with McIntyre as the champion, either Punk does come back, and obviously you have to have that feud, before SummerSlam, or Gunther still gets the shot, and like, I don't know, does Punk, cost McIntyre the title at SummerSlam? I just don't like how any of these scenarios would play out. Like, it just doesn't. It's
just off. And it's just something just seems off. And even if Punk, let's say if he does that in Scotland at Clash of the Castle, he costs Drew McIntyre the title. Wouldn't that make Punk come across more as a heel than he is as a face? Because it's in Scotland. Because Drew's walking into that match as the face, because he's from there. Right. So that would just be weird in regard, like, booking wise, in regards to that, for Punk to get involved and cost Drew in that type of
I don't think
settings.
He's getting involved in that pay-per-view. Yeah.
So I don't know, man. So yeah, on one hand, like I mentioned earlier, I don't mind it to a certain degree because it does add a layer of intrigue of like, oh, something's on the line. You don't just get a crown and a scepter. But on the other hand, because of this situation with Gunther, Priest, Drew, and everyone else, it doesn't make sense, which is why I mentioned with Gunther and Cody, right? So where maybe Orton wins this match, you have Orton take on Cody, you have Orton turn heel, because that feud, whenever it happens, it's got to happen. Like that story just writes, it speaks for itself.
It really does. Yeah.
But at the same time, man, it's just like, I also think about it rationally. I'm just like, King Orton or King Randy. It sounds silly. He's a viper. He's supposed to be like this snake in the grass, and he's got a king. Look at me, I'm King Randy. Like that's just come on.
It makes me feel like we need to bring Riddle back and it'd be like, hey, it's King Randy.
Oh fuck. Oh fuck.
Yeah, that just doesn't fit Randy Orton at all.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. So I was 50-50 with that ever since this announcement came up. I'm like, it makes more sense down the road if you want to have Orton win this title, but do you want him in this shtick as King of the Ring, but it doesn't fit the character? So again, you're in a pickle. And I don't know if this was the plan all along to have a title involved in this tournament, or if this was freaking just last minute. Right. It's so odd because it's just weird how and that's why it feels like it's been done last minute or it's rushed, because right before these finals started, hey guys, by the way, a title opportunity is granted for whoever wins this tournament.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, but
why
wouldn't you? Right. First of all, why? Second of all, why wasn't this advertised before this fucking tournament started?
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. That's just a lot of question marks there. But we'll see, man. It's just hopefully nobody just gets done dirty in all of this. Whether that is Gunther, whether that's possibly Drew out of all of this, I don't know, or Damian Priest, because and that's the thing too, man. With Priest, I mean, is he gonna win this title at Clash? Is he gonna go into SummerSlam defending that title against Gunther? Because
that's what I'm saying. Like at Clash of the Castle again in Scotland, unless Punk does interfere, like I don't see like how does Drew?
I don't know. I don't know how you book. I don't know how you book this match and how anybody doesn't somewhat stay face here, unless we've talked about with Priest and Finn Balor. I don't know what Finn Balor and Priest. I don't even know if there's a true real long distance plan for that. I mean, we did talk about the whole demon picture that was in the Judgment Day locker room. So I don't really know if Triple H truly has a definitive plan for Priest and Balor for that feud. I honestly truly believe that. So I don't know, man. Something definitely seems odd, at least in the men's side of things, of how just things were just not thought through. So I don't know. I really don't know in regards to it. But we'll say that's all I can honestly say to end this. But a good match between these two. Yep. It just sucks that the finish was just, first of all, the roll-up finish, again, just why? Like Gunther and the roll-up finish, like, guys, stop. And then the botch with the shoulder up, it just was not good. Obviously, that wasn't planned because of the camera sequence during the replay, and plus the announcers, Michael Cole and Corey Graves, they would have kept going back to the shoulder. Oh, wait a minute, his shoulder was up. Go back and watch the replay. That's when it would have been planned, but clearly it wasn't. They were trying to like make it, or make it somewhat stay face, but clearly it was botched. And that just puts at least a bad taste in my mouth, as I'm sure puts a bad taste in a lot of other people's mouths. So it's unfortunate, but so far we got 3 in the good, at least from my side, 3 in the good and 1 in the bad for this review. Now let's get to the main event. Let's get to the main dish of this PLE. This was for the undisputed WWE Championship. This was your champion, Cody Rhodes, versus your challenger, the United States champion, Logan Paul. This match was in 24 minutes in length. Cody Rhodes, he goes for his drop-down punch, and then Logan's like, nah, psych, bitch, and he frickin' just counters it. Logan was in a screaming match all frickin' night long with Michael Cole at ringside on commentary. He's like, dude, it's like, stop using the brass knucks. Like, you don't need those. You know, you said in the contract or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So Michael Cole's like on Logan Paul's ass throughout this entire match in regards to it. One of Logan Paul's buddies from his entourage hands him the brass knuckles. Cody Rhodes flies off of the top rope onto the outside, but gets met with those brass knucks right into the midsection. Logan Paul, and then so he's in that screaming match with Cole. He charges after Michael Cole, and like Corey Graves is like blocking him off or whatever. Cody Rhodes has, and this was really cool. This is very minor, but it was not so minor to me. Logan Paul is selling the fuck out of this figure 4 leg lock. Like, he's almost like in tears. He's crying. He's like, oh, dude, stop. You're hurting my leg. Oh, God. like it's little things like that, man, are just so good that Logan Paul just did so tremendously there. So shout out to Logan for that. Logan Paul goes for a pedigree on the announce table. Cody Rhodes counters. He hits a Cody cutter onto the announce table. Didn't break, but they landed onto the announce table. Logan Paul then hits a frog splash onto Cody through the Arabic announce table, the other announce table. There was like this really cool, like drone, like 360 shot, like up in the air. I thought that was really cool. I was like, that's interesting. As freaking Logan Paul went airborne, he hit another frog splash in the ring, and then Cody Rhodes kicks out. Cody Rhodes hits a vertebreaker. Freaking shout out to Hurricane Helms. He freaking must have loved that shit. What's up with that, right? Shout out to freaking people who know Hurricane Helms. So he hits that vertebreaker. The referee gets inadvertently knocked down, and then Cody's checking up on the referee. Logan Paul delivers a devastating low blow. And then Logan Paul, he takes out the brass knucks. The Arabic ring announcer, so there was a special ring announcer for this match. He gets involved and grabs Logan's leg, preventing him to use the brass knucks. And Logan Paul's reaction was great. He was like, who the hell are you? He turns around, and Cody Rhodes, he intercepts a punch to the face. He says, and Cody Rhodes says, I'm Cody Rhodes, bitch. And he hits him with not 1, not 2, but 3 crossroads. And Cody Rhodes defeats Logan Paul for the 1, 2, and 3. And Cody Rhodes retains, as we all expected, but retains his undisputed WWE title. Brian, your thoughts and your tally, man, on this main event between Cody Rhodes and Logan Paul?
I don't know, man. I mean, it's 50-50 for me. I'm conflicted. Like, I mean, sure, there was a lot of great spots, of course, like we always say. I mean, Logan, dude, he can do this if he wants to, man. I mean, he really can.
Absolutely.
But it just, to me, okay, you got Cody Rhodes, who is your world champion, who just went through this 2-year journey, to capture this. And we all know the story, right? I get Logan Paul, the media sensation or whatever, but it doesn't. Basically, Cody Rhodes essentially needed a distraction by a ring announcer to beat Logan Paul. It just doesn't sit right with me. It just, this is your world champion. Logan Paul is who he is. I get it. You're in Saudi. This isn't one of the huge pay-per-views. All of that. I get it. I get all of that. But it's still, it's Logan Paul, A, with a title shot, and B, I don't know. It just out the match again. We talk about how good the matches are, and then some endings or whatever. The ending sucked. The ending flat out sucked to me. Yeah.
Interesting. Here's my caveat to this. Here's my caveat with this. And I hear what you're saying, Brian. I really do. Because it would have been nice to know who this person was that interfered in this match. And I'm sure most of it was just mainly for the people in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia that know who this guy was.
I don't think it mattered if it. I mean, I don't care if it was another wrestler. Like, you're telling me your world champion Cody Rhodes needs outside interference from anybody to beat Logan Paul? No, man. No.
I get it. I'm not going to harp on it as much as you are, Brian, but I will say a lot more, again, just more good outweighed the bad overall in this match, especially for the way Logan Paul performed in this match and
Yeah.
just how
Yeah.
tremendous he freaking was. I get what you're saying with the finish and everything. I'm not going to harp on it that much because, again, this is an exhibition PLE and it's on a Saturday afternoon. It's Logan Paul and it's Cody. I'm really not that deep into it, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. I get people's frustration in regards to it, but no, go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
I mean, it just feels like this is it's one of those like throwaway matches. Like there's no story, there's no feud. It was an AEW banger match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I completely get it. And I think it's mainly because the reason why they wanted somebody like the ring announcer to interfere, because you had Logan Paul's entourage from ringside giving him the brass knucks as they were also trying to get involved in the match and everything. So that's pretty much why they pretty much did it, as well as trying to please the Saudi crowd because they know who he is.
Sure.
But I'm not going to let that little part of the match affect what was really good in this match, and that was this entire match, which of course was the 3 crossroads, which I thought was a good way to protect Logan Paul. Logan Paul didn't really lose anything from this, and I thought this match from start to finish was damn solid. And because of that, I'm going to put this match up. Not great, wasn't great, but it was good. It was very good. As I expected it would be, because it's Cody Rhodes and it's Logan Paul.
Yeah.
But once again, it proved that Logan Paul, man, this dude, not only is he becoming a wrestler, but this dude has proven time and time again he is just an entertainer. He's been an entertainer ever since he started YouTube and making YouTube videos. He just understands how to entertain a certain audience, and that's just really the bottom line, as Stone Cold would say. So, and I think that's why I appreciate Logan Paul a lot, because he understands the entertainment business, and to top that, he's now getting better and better as a in-ring performer and doing the little things like selling that figure 4 leg lock and doing the little things like freaking, bantering with Michael Cole at ringside. Like, it's just really good, man. I get the whole ring announcer thing. Trust me, I'm not saying it's not valid. I'm just not treating it as a big deal because this is a Saudi Saturday afternoon PLE, and this was meant to be an exhibition fight for the most part. There wasn't really a whole lot of weeks to build this, and this was a one-time little thing. I mean, obviously, if this was like, if you're continuing to prolong and build this as a regular feud, which you shouldn't anyway.
No.
But so that's why I'm not really harping about it at all, because Cody Rhodes is going to move on. He's going to keep doing his thing with his, his title reign, as well as with Logan Paul and his United States Championship. I do like the fact how they booked this to make Logan Paul, or try to have Logan Paul gain the edge to not defend his championship in that contract signing. I've spoken about that before. It just makes sense with Logan Paul, doing some minor little details, and, with his lawyer and, rearranging the contract. Like, that's something. And of course, Logan Paul, he knows some certain names and how to get the edge on his side. So it makes sense to that regard. So yeah, I mean, I get the ring announcer thing. I would have liked it more if I just knew who the person was, or maybe it could be somebody that could prolong a feud with Logan Paul in that United States Championship. I don't know, but at the end of the day, this was for the Saudi crowd that knew who this ring announcer was. This is a Saturday afternoon PLE in Saudi Arabia, so and it's an exhibition, and they're going to go their separate ways after this. So and they performed a hell of a match. There was a lot of big memorable moments in this match. So just a lot more good outweighed the bad to that regard. But Brian, your final thoughts before we wrap this up here.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all that too. Yeah, it was a good match, hell of a match, and nice. Again, I mean, Logan, he really does impress every time, and I'll say it again, man. Like, I kind of hope he does like fully commit to this, and like, I don't know, that does mean giving up a lot of money and whatever. So, but if he really did, man, like, yeah, he has a lot. He could bring a whole lot more than he does now. I think And for me, I don't like really. I don't want to say part because I don't treat Roman or somebody like that as a part timer. Even though he wasn't there much during his title reign, I'm talking about like the Goldbergs, the Brock Lesnar's, the whoever that you bring in, and they're leaving. Like Roman Reigns hasn't left. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just never a fan of really any of that. I know it's needed. I know it brings in ratings and money and all that, but it's just not my bag, baby.
No,
I
I
can't
feel
really
it. No, I
say,
feel you. Yeah.
yeah.
No, I
But
get it.
overall good match. And I still put this in the good. Like I said, I don't really think I didn't have high expectations for this pay-per-view anyway. I think
Yeah.
even so, I mean, I'll give it right now. I mean, I have 5 in the good, none in the bad, none in the ugly, but it's misleading. Like this whole thing was really just it was mid. It was all right.
Yeah. No, again,
Yeah.
nothing, and I even said it earlier on, like everything was expected, but
Yeah.
should have happened. Nothing, there was no big surprises. There was no big shocking moment
Nope.
outside of maybe some memorable spots and some matchups. But it was consistently good. Just more good outweighed the bad, and it
Yeah.
still gained some interest to see where things go in regards to it. And again, and I'll finish it off with this. And I think the main reason why I'm not so harped on the ending of the match as well per se, because with Logan Paul, like I spoke about, his entourage getting involved and so and this and this and that. And obviously with Logan Paul, I said it from the jump that it makes sense for him to be in this situation with Cody for this PLE. And I said it when he fought against Roman. I'm like, there's no other person in that locker room that can afford to take a loss to Cody Rhodes this early in his title reign. It hasn't even been a title reign yet. He's held on to that title now for what, maybe a little over a month now, or maybe just around about a month. So, yeah. So, I mean, Logan Paul, he is a guy that to where, yeah, I guess you could say he's pretty much part-time. He doesn't wrestle obviously a whole lot, as he
Yeah.
shouldn't. He doesn't need to. But there was no other person, man, to where, because I know there was a lot of backlash when it first started, when Logan Paul was announced as the challenger for Cody. But I'm like, this makes sense. It's a Saudi show. It's on a Saturday afternoon. It's an exhibition matchup. There's no harm, no foul here. Cody Rhodes, and hopefully there's a plan for Cody Rhodes. That would literally like diminish all of this, as well as the matchup with Styles. And so, yeah, so I can't really say, because people tell me, oh, what do you think of Cody Rhodes' title reign lately? I really don't have a certain judgment or a thought process of it, because there hasn't really been a title reign yet.
Right.
It's been over a month. I mean, now it needs to start picking up in regards to the next couple of weeks. That's why I heavily mentioned Randy Orton going into SummerSlam, because that can really kick things into high gear from there. But we'll see. And then Logan Paul, he never didn't lose a damn thing because of it. Obviously,
No.
his United States Championship should have never been on the line to begin with. So I'm glad they went the separate route there. And he'll continue doing his thing going into SummerSlam, which is in his hometown, by the way, in Cleveland, Ohio. And yeah, so again, nothing over the top, nothing spectacular, but this was a decent pay-per-view overall. A lot of good that outweighed the bad in this pay-per-view. A lot was already expected, and that's pretty much it at the end of the day. So we shall see what happens at Clash. Maybe a lot more shocking moments happen for the Clash of the Castle. Maybe some good shocking moments happen for Monday Night Raw coming up this week, as well as SmackDown. And by the way, before we do wrap things up, I do want to mention this. I came across a source the other day about the Wyatt Six. And as of right now, they are projected to debut. This is just from reputable sources that I came across, around during Clash at the Castle, either at Clash at the Castle or the Raw or SmackDown shortly after. And
I think it's going to be at Clash of the Castle. Yeah,
at Clash of the Castle.
That's what I'm expecting.
And I'm expecting, and who knows who they first go after, but I have a feeling it's going to probably be Jey Uso, because of this whole Firefly stuff. He's tweeted like, "Oh, the Fireflies are on my side now," and everything. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I think they'll probably debut on Raw. and go after Jey Uso. And I think that that's when, Jey and this whole, that's how we kickstart. And that's the thing too. And I really hope that this Wyatt 6 doesn't just become a stepping stone for Jey Uso, because obviously the future for Jey Uso is to align with his brother Jimmy and go after this new reemerged bloodline that is probably going to be with The Rock. And obviously we know with Solo.
That's kind of why I said I wasn't a fan of this whole like Jey Uso. And I mean, it's great. It happened organically. Nobody was asking for it. I get it. But like, it just, like, his story is with the bloodline. It doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah. And who knows? And maybe it's, Jey Uso, he kind of goes solo in this whole attempt to take down Uncle Howdy. And now he realizes, like, well, shit, I'm going to need some backup, and then that's when the reemergence of his brother comes along, to where the Wyatts get the upper hand, right? They win this battle over Jey, but Jey knows his long-term battle is with the bloodline and finally ending that. So now he goes back to his brother Jimmy, as well as alongside their cousin Roman, and maybe Jacob Fatu. I've also heard Sami Zayn. I've heard a possibility for maybe a War Games matchup. They'll do Sami's.
It's got to be all bloodline. You can't put Sami in there. No, it's got to be bloodline, man.
Right? Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, we'll see in regards to it. I mean, I'm sure it'll be either one of those two. They could go Sami Zayn. That's a possibility they could do. But you would think it makes more sense to have more of this a family type of thing, or at least a blood type of thing, right? So we'll see. Again, I just, I've been on board with this Wyatt 6 stuff, man.
Yeah.
I just hope that obviously Taylor Rotunda, Bo Dallas knows what to do with it. I just hope that WWE Suits and Ties know what to do with it, and they don't expose it, because fans, within the drop of a dime, a snap of a finger, can turn on this supernatural shit really quickly.
Yeah.
So we'll see in regards to it. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to this edition, this pay-per-view, or PLE, whatever the fuck you want to call pay-per-views nowadays. This review of the King and Queen of the Ring PLE live in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. So again, this was a consistent review, a consistent good overall review, as I got 4 in the good and 1 in the bad. So far, ever since WrestleMania, WWE has been pretty darn consistent, and hopefully that continues moving forward. Like I said, we got Clash at the Castle coming up in June. We got SummerSlam coming up in August. So time will only tell to see where WWE goes from here, creative wise and booking wise. We talked about Gunther and the world title and how that can get very messy, but time will only tell, man. But thank you guys again for tuning in to another review. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are so close to 200 subscribers, so make sure you guys spread the word and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You guys also see the banner down below if you're watching this on YouTube. Make sure you guys follow us on Instagram and TikTok. That is Ruthless_Talk. We are also very close to 1,700 followers on TikTok. I believe we're about 20 some odd followers away from hitting that certain amount of followers on that platform. So make sure you guys spread the word. This is the podcast and the platform to be on. So spread the word. Thank you guys for always tuning in, and stay tuned for more content to come. Brian, final thoughts before we end things.
Again, just like you said, thank everybody for subscribing, watching, liking, all of that, sharing, whatever. Looking forward to Monday night to see what the fallout is, especially with Gable and Creed Brothers and Alpha Academy, man. So, yeah, definitely looking forward to what's coming.
It's going to be good shit, pal. That's going to do it for today's episode, everybody. My name is James Porcelli.
I'm Brian Thomas.
And until next time, there will be a next time. Your boys are signing off saying salute.
Peace out.
And take care, everybody.
Yeet.